I recently came across this company called Win Labs. Now, they make some pretty interesting things, some quite novel, like this escape pen, and I want to talk about what they have and see if any of them are something you might want to consider. With that, let's get started. A utility knife is nothing special, but I like the way they have approached it in this particular case. With a solid piece of titanium with a titanium insert, and the way it works is you can slide it up and pull it back, and it'll actually hold in both positions. What I like about this is that you actually can do it with both left and right hand. A lot of times with these, you only get to choose either right or left. And if you're doing it from the other hand, it's just generally like in reverse direction. It's not the end of the world. But the fact that this is like equally good either way, I really like that. It's a little bit different because it is a cutout in the very center of the titanium. It has a prying tool on the back, a little place to hold with your lanyard, and it's very, very light. Not much to say here, just a nice little clean design from them and a utility knife that might be worth it depending on the pricing when you're seeing this video. I'll put a listing right here. This is what it's currently priced at, but works very, very well. I think it'd be very nice on a keychain, and it kind of having that additional pry tool and flathead screwdriver, that's a plus for sure. Next item I'm going to talk about is their carbon fiber wallet. Now, I think this is pretty cool for a few reasons. I like how compact it is and how light it is. It's very easy to put into things. It's a rigid wallet, but it also has the one-piece construction. So there's nothing really to worry about on this thing. And for me, what I think of is a wallet that I would use to go to the pool or the beach or something along those lines where I didn't have to worry about the sand or the water doing any damage. And then I could, kind of have what is essentially a waterproof design. So this is saying it will take 12 cards plus 8 bills. Now I'm assuming those are flat cards because there's no way 12 embossed cards are gonna fit in this thing. But let me show you what it looks like when you have it in. So here's 11 cards right there. Now the way they want you to do this is, in order to create the gap, you hold the sides here and you press down, and that creates a spot to put the cash. But the thing is, this is like what, 4 bills or something like that, quad folded. That's pretty good. That's pretty good right there. Now that's 11 cards plus cash, and it's not particularly easy to get anything out of here now that I have so many cards in there. I think realistically, 4 or 5 cards plus cash would work great. Like if you take out a bunch, let's say 5 cards because 1 or 2 of them are embossed, that would make more sense to me. So we take these 5, stick them in there. See, that's a much nicer size, and then I click this over, put my cash in there. See, that works for me. See, that's a nice compact package. That's a nice size. That's good. I deal with that. But I don't think you should buy into that 12 card 8 bill thing. I have never seen any pictures on their website showing that to be the case with the 8 bills and 12 cards. So unless they could show that to me, I just think that I would almost guarantee to break it at that point, especially quad folded cash. You can imagine just how thick that's going to be. This was 11 cards and 4 bills, and it still looked like it really had already expanded quite a bit. And basically, the weak points here are right here, and I'm very impressed that already it's held up. The fact that it has no issues with what I showed, it didn't feel like it was straining, is very impressive. I like this. I like this design a lot. I think it's a very cool, minimalist setup. And compared to some of those spring steel money clips, this feels like a pretty massive step up for me. It just feels like a nice, thin solution. So well done for them. I don't know about this number. You let me know what you think. But in my opinion, I think 12 cards and 8 bills is pushing it, to say the least. So everyone at some point has had issue with a split ring on their keychain, and there's been a couple of different novel solutions to this. I've seen a few different ones where you squeeze them together and it tilts one side up. This one is a little bit simpler. You just simply pull it away and it creates a gap. So there's like a little lip like kind of like a liner lock, where you have something exposed so you can open it up, and it just makes it really easy, especially on these larger ones. On the small ones, this feels only slightly easier than a split ring itself, because I think the tension is so high. It's just not that easy. Now, I don't have to use my nails. I can kind of roll over it with my thumb, but I wouldn't call it like the easiest thing in the world. Still, if I had to compare that to a standard split ring, it's still easier. And I like the options that they have here. So you can get it like this, or you can get it with just the larger split rings as well, which a quantity of 2. Nice touch, different style. I think what I'll end up doing is using these small ones a little bit and see how they work. And then the big one I'll probably end up giving away in the future. I have a lot of different styles of split rings and so on, and my preference is those kind of like wire screw-on ones. But I like these small designs. Maybe they can replace those S-beaners as an option because they're easy enough to use. We'll see. But overall, like the design, I think they're a decent choice, and certainly better than basic split rings. Okay, now here's a weird one. This is a keychain tool that has a couple of different things going for it. It has a little package opener on the end. Everything kind of pops in together. A Phillips head screwdriver, and this does actually lock, so you can actually use it to with the carabiner to kind of get some leverage. And then on the inside, it has a flathead. So this kind of lines up with the holes on the inside of the tool. And I had trouble getting it together. There we go. And then this all pops back together, and then it just adds to your keychain. I don't know about this. I think it's a cool idea, but I already think that keychains are generally a little heavy already. So adding a bunch of functions that are kind of secondary like this, it's a hit or miss thing. You have to really buy into it. If you're not someone who was willing to carry a knife, then I do think this would probably work quite well. Phillips head, flathead, and package opener. That's actually kind of a nice little combination for a lot of different people. And it is pretty light. I believe this is made in titanium. It certainly feels like it. And the weight does kind of make sense. So yeah, really cool. Another design from them that maybe you consider. This is the item that basically got the whole thing started. I saw this on Kickstarter. I'm like, who is this company? And I reached out to them and to see what they were all about. And so this is a bolt action pen that has a glass breaker on the back with a flat surface to be able to kind of get a little bit more oomph on it. And there's something hidden underneath the clip here. Now I just tried it to see if I could get it to work, and I realized what I was doing wrong. So the way this works is if you put enough pressure underneath that clip, you'll actually move this guard out of the way, and it will allow that blade to be exposed, and then you can actually kind of cut through a seatbelt material. And it's pretty damn sharp, I have to say. Now, this isn't exactly seatbelt material. In fact, this is more fibrous, so in theory, it's actually a little bit more difficult to cut than normal seatbelt material. But it's an interesting take. The only concern I had was, and this was the question I posed, what would happen if you push it down in your pocket too hard? And so I tried it, and thankfully I didn't have any issues. I do think for resetting you do have to press that down a little bit harder. So we can use this. There we go. And that will then seat itself again. There you go. And the other thing is, thankfully it didn't cut out my pockets, but you can see there's this much space standing above your pocket. So when you put it in your pocket, there's a lot of this pen that's sticking out. Here's what I think. I think that this is a really good tool to leave in a car as a pen, right? Like you're using it for your car pen, you put it like a piece of Velcro stuck to your car door, and when you need it, it becomes a glass breaker and seatbelt cutter. That makes sense to me quite a bit. So it's a pen when you need a pen in the car, and then it's those other safety features otherwise. That I dig. And there's a couple different finishes here, so this is the same thing, it's just a different finish. I personally like the matte finish a little bit better. These are on Kickstarter right now, so I don't think you can purchase them just yet. But if this is something that you're interested in, I thought it was really cool. Now there's one more item, I just realized there's one more item that we didn't get a chance to talk about, and this is truly just a dedicated tool for breaking glass. So hold on a second, let me find something I can show you guys how powerful this thing actually is. Okay, so let's just show you on this piece of wood. So this is a keychain tool. This is also something you just keep in a car, but it's a spring-loaded punch. And you can see it definitely does a number. And what's nice about it, I think, is it's relatively small. I think this is mostly designed for people who might do this on a more regular basis, like a first responder. I don't know if this is something I would keep. There is variations that use plastic, but they have a combination of a cutter and a spring action punch that I think make a little bit more sense. Otherwise, maybe something like this is probably a little bit better because you have both. You have both the cutter and you have the punch, and it's still a relatively practical tool because you have a pen in addition to it. Cool products, a nice little showcase. I hope this is interesting to you guys. I think the pen is definitely an interesting novelty. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Is this a practical tool that you would use yourself? Or would you skip it? As always, thank you guys so much for your time, and we'll talk again soon.